All right, guys. So, today we find out that Andrew Tate is actually gay. And hopefully, the internet won't be bad today. I definitely hope not. All right. I think the internet might be a little bad, but we'll try to see if it works. I do not know. All right. Hopefully it's okay. I don't. It froze just now, but I just think the internet's terrible around here. Very, very terrible. I mean, the cellular data is terrible too. So we'll see. If not, I'll make a video about this because it's kind of ridiculous how bad the internet is around here for zero reason. But anyway, imagine that you are the alpha male. You are the Giga Chad of the world. You are a multimillionaire. You have $100 million at least. And you walk around like you're the man. You talk like you're the man. Everybody thinks you're the man. All girls in the world lust after you. All men in the world want to be you. You are known as the straightest of the straight. The manliest of the men. And then you say that you would have sex with Megan Fox with a penis. Because that's what Andrew Tate did. He made a video recently where he said that he put it on Twitter. He said, if you had to choose between the two, you would sleep with a transgender 10 out of 10. Transgender, it's a male, biological male, 10 out of 10. Or a 1 out of 10 woman. He said, the transgender 10 out of 10 looks like Megan Fox. And the 1 out of 10 looks like Hulk Hogan. What would you choose? And then he goes, and he's standing by his Bugatti garage. And he says, you are stupid for choosing to go with the 1 out of 10 biological female, because why would you want to have sex with Hulk Hogan? And he's saying he would choose the Megan Fox with a penis. So this ultra manly 10 out not 10 out of 10 ultra manly man chooses to be with a man. That's what he chooses to be with. Maybe he had a fun time in jail and things changed his mind, you know. Fun time in the shower, let's say. But the thing is, how this relates back to becoming a great man is that you wouldn't choose between the two of those things. I mean, you wouldn't go on Twitter and allow some guy to go, would you choose this or this? And you have to choose one or the other. You would just go, well, I'm not going to sleep with a 1 out of 10 Hulk Hogan, but I'm also not going to sleep with a guy who looks like a girl. You wouldn't choose that. Because what great men do is they create their own lives. They don't just let things happen to them and then just see how things go. They make things happen instead. And I think two great examples that I can think of with this, and I'm sorry if the internet's terrible, but two great men I can think of are Louis L'Amour and Theodore Roosevelt. Louis L'Amour, because I think he's a great example of the kind of man that actually makes his own life happen. He did so many things within his lifetime. I mean, he first moved away when I think he was like 14 or 15. He first moved away from home. And this was in like 19 around the 19 teens, for sure, if I remember correctly. And he went to go work to support his family. Actually, maybe it was later, because then he had worked during the Great Depression, and he was a hobo, and he would just travel around the country working. He worked on ships, and he would go work internationally. He would work as a caretaker of mines, and at one point he got stuck while being a caretaker for a mine in the desert, and he had to walk 30 miles back to town with zero water. He had to find little ponds of water, and he would walk through the night because it was too hot during the day. It was way too hot during the day to walk. And he met these people who were so interesting, lived during very cool times in America, traveled the world, created his own life, went to World War II at one point, and then became a writer who sold, I believe, hundreds, at least 100 million books. And he's a fantastic writer. I mean, I love the series, The Sackets. I actually have 3 of his books on that bookshelf. They're so good. So good. And that series, it's all pretty similar. Each book is pretty similar to the other one. But it's great. It's a story about a family creating their own lives, mainly going off into the American West. And they encounter some trouble in some way, and then usually find a girl, settle down, and build their own lives there. So he was a great man writing about other great men and how they created their own lives. But then Teddy Roosevelt also did so many different things with his life because, I mean, he did so many things. He was a rancher at one point in North Dakota, I believe. And then he lost all of his cattle to a bad snowstorm. Very, very bad snowstorm. But for a while, he was a serious rancher. Before that, he was trying to be just a politician. And I think while he was ranching, he was also continuing that. And then after that, or before that, he was in university. And then he decided that everything he was learning actually did not help him in the real world. It didn't. So then, Elf Rider, hi, how's it going? So then, after he started ranching and then stopped ranching, he continued his career while being very successful. Then, very late in his life, he went to Africa and then to the Amazon and almost died. And his son almost died in the Amazon. But this is a guy who built his own life instead of letting it happen, which is what most people do. And that's why it's so rare to find a great man. For example, like I think a modern day great man would be someone like Dwayne from Dry Creek Wrangler School. And I want to try to interview him. I sent an email to him saying that I'd like to interview him. So we'll see if that happens. I think at some point, if it's not possible now, I think it will be possible at some point in the future. Because it would be awesome to talk to him. But he, from what little I know about him, from what he's talked about in his videos, he definitely seems like a great man who created his own life, who did have very many struggles, even within the past couple years, it sounds like. And he also talks about how it wasn't until the past 5 years, I think, that he was more in control of himself and a better man for doing that. But he's a guy who made his own business and is doing everything to continue it, and then just shares his thoughts on the internet. And because he's lived a good life, even though he's only in his 50s, I believe, so hopefully he's around for at least another 20 years. Even though he's lived a good life, he still has so much to learn, and he's trying to give people information to better their lives, especially young men, it seems like. And in doing that, he's also giving off wisdom to everyone, like serious wisdom, things that most people don't even think about in their lives. Technology makes things easier. Can you mention 3 benefits of building a manly character? Also, work reduces health. Also, work reduce health is easier to hire people to make things. Well, I think 3 benefits of building a manly character. I think there's a lot more than 3 benefits, but let's go with 3 benefits for now. I'd say the first benefit is the respect of yourself. Because if you don't have the respect of yourself, what are you going to do? You're going to be like every other guy in the world. You're just going to be walking around with no direction. Because to have the respect for yourself, you have to have a direction. You have to go after what you want to go after. You have to do what you want to do. You have to do what you will say you will do. So I'd say earning your own respect. I would also say, and with that, it's not just about having the respect for yourself, but it's also finding meaning in your life is also another benefit, for sure. Because it's not about just growing out a beard and going out into the woods and camping and for a couple of days and thinking you're manly. It's about every day you wake up and try to do the best you can. Try to act according to what you think is the proper way to act. You have to come up with your own code of conduct. And so if you can do that every day, even though a lot of days you will fail to act how you'd like to act, you'll find meaning in doing the things that you find meaningful, but are also difficult. So that's another one. And it also benefits the people around you, which is another benefit. Because if people see you acting in a manly manner, then the guys around you will go, I respect that, I want to emulate that, and they'll do the same thing. And that's exactly what you want, because you don't want a ton of guys walking around the world who have no direction, who don't find anything truly meaningful in their lives except for maybe video games or friends, which friends are important, but it's more important to become your own man than it is to have friends. But it's even better if you have friends that also want to become individuals as well, who can think for themselves, who have their own code of conduct, and who conduct themselves as they see fit. So I'd say those are the 3 big benefits: respect for yourself, finding meaning in your life, and creating a reason for other people around you to want to also find meaning in their lives. And I think another benefit is creating your own life too. So I think those are three big benefits. And I guess you're asking, is it easier to hire people to make things? I guess if you're asking if it's easier to hire people to like build things, I think it depends on what it is. I'd like to learn how to make more stuff or how to fix more things, for sure. Because I don't think there's any problem with getting people to fix things for you. But I think you should be able to do a good amount of fixing of just simple things, at least. I think that's what you're asking. So those are the three big benefits. But also, going back to the Andrew Tate thing, a great man is not someone who puts themselves online and gives everyone a different version of themselves than what they really are. Because what Andrew Tate just did is he exposed himself for what he really is. He's a very strange guy. He says that he acts like he's the ultimate alpha male, Giga Chad, straightest of the straight, manliest of the men. But he said it's on video. He said on Twitter, if you had to choose between having sex with transgender, 10 out of 10, he said Megan Fox but with a penis, or a 1 out of 10 biological female who looks like Hulk Hogan, then you'd be insane to choose the biological female. I mean, he said to everyone saying that, you are fooling yourselves. I mean, why would you choose that? So he's saying he would rather have sex with a man, 10 out of 10 Megan Fox transgender with a penis, versus an actual woman. So he exposed himself for what he really is, or at least part of what he really is. And that's the other problem, is that the reason he has so many followers, so many people looking to become him, is because there's zero big great examples of men. Zero. At least for most people. I think there's some. Like I said not too long ago, Dry Creek Wrangler School. Dwayne from Dry Creek Wrangler School. I think he's definitely one. For sure. And there are some, but it's not. And Dwayne has about 500,000 subscribers on YouTube. And 9 months ago, I think he had less than 100,000. So, a lot more men especially are finding him. He talks about how he has a lot of young men emailing him very often. So, there are some, but it's very rare, very hard to find. And let's think about young men. When you, like today, when your fathers are also not great examples of great men, or not great men, or at least not trying to become great men, then who are you going to look to? I mean, of course, at some point, most boys will at least somewhat reject, all boys will at least somewhat reject their father for a certain period of time. And it could be for the rest of their lives, it could be for a year, it could be for 5 years. But so many, most dads I see today are like baseball dads. That's that's the best example I can give. Most dads today are baseball dads. They go to some job they absolutely hate, absolutely hate, and most time it's some BS job that means nothing. That does nothing for the world too. They do that. What do they care about? What they find meaningful: Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Friday means they get off of work, get to drink. Saturday means there might be their son's baseball game. They get to drink and talk with their buddies. Sunday, maybe football and baseball. More drinking, talking with your buddies. And of course, these guys want nothing to do with their wives, too. Like if you find these guys in the world, these dads, these baseball dads. And it's not just baseball, that's just a good specific example. But if you find these dads in the world, maybe they get to coach first base. Well, that could be a thing, too. I doubt they can actually throw a ball. Well, I did back in my day. I threw about 90 miles an hour back in my day. But now, I am 90 pounds overweight. And that's all they look forward to. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Drinking. Talking with friends. Talking about how annoying their wife is. All the wives go in the other room. All the guys will be in this room watching football, watching NFL. And last summer I was around a lot of these people. So I got to see close up what these people are like. Their wives hate them, which if you dedicate your life, at least part of your life, to a woman, you say, I want to be with you for the rest of our lives. And you marry her. Do you really want to hate her? Do you really not want to be around her? Because these guys do not. And then I was around their wives sometimes, and they're talking trash about their husbands. All the time. That's all they talk about. Or how annoying other women are. That's all they talk about. And what about their sons? They're all ridiculous. I was around their sons too, and they don't care about anything. They don't even care about playing baseball most of the time. Some of them do. There was one who took it very seriously on that baseball team I saw. But I thought Saturdays were for the boys. Well, these guys are still boys. So, I guess so. These guys are so ridiculous. There was one kid who took things seriously. He was good at it. But even when he wasn't playing baseball, what was he doing? He was playing video games. He was hearing his nagging mother talk about how terrible his father is all the time. His dad's a slob who does nothing except go to his job that he hates that does nothing. But he gets paid a good amount and gets to live in the suburbs where he can't really afford his house, his car, or anything he owns. But, we love that. And because it's free money. And they don't do anything. So young men and boys, that's what they get. That's what they get. And that's why my dad and I, we talked about making this channel when we were backpacking. He came up with the idea, and I think it's a great idea. And I hope this channel can become something big. I definitely do want to try to interview some great men, because that would get the channel more attention. But also, I want to bring a lot of ideas to the channel so people can go to one place and go, how do I become a better man? Go to the Great Man Podcast. But when we were talking about this, it was an obviously great idea because, again, what do boys have? Nothing. They have nothing. So they resort to these guys on the internet who, while they might be good at something, Andrew Tate is good at saying controversial things, which are big lies with a little bit of truth. And that's why people can go along with it, because every big lie has to have a little bit of truth. Or you have, let's say these fitness guys, because there's a lot of fitness guys who young boys look up to. Yeah, they're good at bodybuilding or powerlifting, but they're not great examples, even though they claim to be. That's the other problem. They claim to be that. And they also act like boys. And I think also because of the way social media is, the actual great men who have stories to tell, who will make a 20 to 45 minute video explaining why a certain event in their life helped them become a better person, become a better man, and explain it in a fantastic way, being great storytellers. They can't sit through that. Because what does YouTube have? It has, even though I make them, it has YouTube Shorts. Instagram has Instagram Reels, and then there's TikTok. So it's like 2 seconds done, 2 seconds done, 2 seconds done. So when you have someone like Dwayne from Dry Creek Regular School sitting there taking his time, smoking his cigar, trying to think about what he's actually going to say, how he should phrase his words properly. Most boys can't sit through that. And also, and I've talked about this now in like the past 4 or 5 videos, but what's happened is that boys have become so women focused, which I get it, I understand, but the problem is that's their main objective in life. That's also why Andrew Tate became popular, because he talked about all that man and woman stuff. The problem is that because women are attracted to the guys that other men admire, that other men want to be, usually. And so when you have weak men admiring other weak men, and those weak men trying to emulate the other weak men that they admire, and then the women go after the weak men that are admired by the other weak men, then it just creates a cycle where men want to not be men want to be weak, because they go, well, if I get this girl, then if I wear sweatpants and a hoodie and a flannel over it and a chain, of course you have to have the chain, and a backwards hat and dress like a frat boy, and I talk like a frat boy, I act like a frat boy, then I'll get girls. Because that's what the other popular weak men do. It's just big cycle. So if you can be the anomaly, the man who breaks that, the man who respects himself, the man who wants to continue and expand his respect for himself, who wants to dress properly, who wants to become a better speaker, better writer, better communicator, the man who wants to create his own code of conduct and follow that for the rest of his life, every day, he wakes up and he knows that he has to follow that. And if he doesn't, he'll feel shame for it. He'll feel regret. If you can follow that, become that man, a man, not a boy, a man, then you're way above everyone else. And you're gonna dodge all of these weak men and these women who chase after the weak men. Why would you want them anyway? Because if that's what you want, go ahead. You want the frat boys, go ahead. Bad choice. Bad choice. But Andrew Tate is gay. That's some good news. I'm sure he likes what's going on in schools then with all the LGBTQ indoctrination. I have another channel, and for anyone that watches this after it actually goes up, I have another channel just called Maxim Smith, Maxim Smith, where I talk about, and I have a Rumble channel as well, where I talk about all the indoctrination within schools. It's ridiculous. It's insane. And a lot of it now is focused on LGBTQ stuff. And there's a lot of terrible, terrible books that are being put in curriculum to make kids more sexual. I mean, there was a video from Project Veritas today where it said they snuck into some like teachers conference thing where all these teachers were talking about how they wanted to covertly add LGBTQ or racial ideas into their lessons. And one of them was like, well, I teach elementary kids, and that's my favorite group to work with because, I mean, once they get to middle school or even high school, then they already have a set way of thinking, and it's just perfect. So that's what they want. Three good things if that can happen if manly character is developed. So earlier I said respect for yourself. And I probably said it like 15 minutes ago. But respect for yourself, finding meaning in your life, becoming an admirable person, which will affect the people around you, and the men around you will want to become you in a certain way. But you have to say, don't become me, become your own man, and I'm just following my own rules and what I find meaningful, what I find best in life. You need to do that. So, becoming admirable, finding meaning in life, respecting yourself, and then I also said another one is creating your life instead of living a life that just seems to happen for you, which is what the baseball dads do. Can you imagine that? You only look forward to the weekend. Beer. And the game. That's amazing. And sad. And you hate your wife. Bonus. Bonus. So yeah. I don't know if I have much else to say about Andrew Tate being gay. And for anyone that joined later, you might want to go back to the beginning. I'll also, when this video goes up, I will put the video of Andrew Tate in the description so you guys can actually see it, where he's talking about his Bugatti garage, and then starts talking about how you should have sex with Megan Fox with penis instead of 1 out of 10 biological female. But anyway, guys, I think that's it for tonight. Good stream. So thank you guys very much. And thank you guys for the comments. I appreciate it. But I'll see you guys tomorrow at 5 p.m. as also. So yeah. Tomorrow we'll be talking about respect and the different forms of respect. So we can stop trying to be like gay Andrew Tate. Anyway, guys,